All right. Well, it looks like we're gonna get right into it today. No intro. I guess there's some different kind of Wi-Fi. We are in Atlanta right now. Welcome to the SnipeAthon, um, week 17. We went on a hiatus for a couple weeks because me and the family was moving, packing, relocating, and we finally, by the grace of Yah, made it down to Atlanta. And I'm here. You see boxes still half unpacked, but still here ready to analyze the market. Um, so since the 2 week hiatus, during those 2 weeks, I actually didn't even trade. But one trade did get activated on a Friday. A sell limit got activated at the end of the second week. And let's go ahead and get into the update for week 17. Let's get you guys up to date on what's going on with the SnipeAthon account. So last week, I said that that sell limit activated. We had a starting balance of $4,902.30, and we end up ending the week at $4,950.40. We had one win, zero losses, so 100% win rate. There are no open trades running, no open or profit loss. But the net loss has been $49.60, and the net loss percentage has been 0.99%. So the note for this week is wait for it, because as you guys will see in a second when I go over the charts, I have a directional bias on EU, and at this point it's just waiting on that those levels to get hit. And this week's focus is what has been the past 3 or 4 weeks, and that's sell into the buys. My directional bias is still bearish on EU, and so we are selling into the buys. We're selling into the buys. But let's go ahead and get right into it. Welcome to the call, everybody. I apologize for the hiatus. I'm glad to be back. If you are here on the call, go ahead and let me know you're here in the comments. Let me know where you watching from. If you new, if this is your first time here, go ahead and drop your location and name in the comments. And let's go ahead and get into the forecast for the week as far as the news. And don't mind the background. I'm going to get this together. Like I said, I'm still unpacking boxes. It's going to take some time for me to decide how I want to decorate, the background. If you guys have any input or, suggestions as far as what the background should look like, feel free to let me know in the Snipers Anonymous chat or in the comments. But let's go ahead and get into the news. Thank you, John. I appreciate it. It's good to be back. It's good to be back, especially now that the markets are moving. All right, so let's do a quick review of this week's news. Let me make sure you guys can see this clear. There we go. All right, so starting on Monday today, we had a couple news releases for the pound and the Australian dollar, and we got something coming up in about 24 minutes for anybody who trades the Aussie. We have a NAB business confidence. That's a high impact. Tuesday, balance of trade for the euro. That's going to be at 2 in the morning tomorrow, or coming up actually. So for this London session coming up, just be watching out around 2 o'clock if you up trading at that time. Tomorrow we have ADP employment change, existing home sales, and more existing home sales for the United States dollar. That's going to be at 8:15 and 10 o'clock a.m. Wednesday, I think, is going to be a big day because of inflation rates. But at 8:30, we have CPI and inflation rates, and then another CPI. We got a lot. Core inflation. We got a lot of inflation news dropping at 8:30 on Wednesday. So that's going to be a big day for the United States dollar. Thursday is going to be big for the euro because they're having an interest rate decision. We know interest rates always move the markets. That's going to be at 8:15 in the morning for the euro. So anything that I call out on this call is going to be course, I'm going to give you guys the long-term directional bias or the longer move, but it's going to be in and out. Like we also want to, because of this interest rate decision coming up for the euro, just want to stick and move. Want to stick and move this week. Get your money, get in, get out. The deposit facility rate is going to be at 8.15 as well. Then for the United States dollar, we have jobless claims, initial jobless claims, continuing jobless claims. And then at 8:45, the Central Bank of Europe is going to have a press conference. And then on Friday, goods, trades, and balance for the pound. It's going to be at 2 o'clock in the morning. And then the Michigan consumer sentiment at 10 a.m. for the United States dollar on Friday. Okay. So let's go ahead and get into first things first. What's going on with the dollar? Back. John said, we're not studying the background. We're happy you're back. I appreciate that. Thank you, man. All right. So what's been going on the past couple weeks? The last time we were on the call or, doing an update, we were within this consolidation, and pretty much for the 2 weeks that, we were gone or on a hiatus, the market's consolidated anyway. It just really consolidated, and it just started to break out at the end of last week. So remember, we were looking at this imbalance to get filled, and it's finally fully filled. All right. Not only did the dollar fill this imbalance, it really went past it. We didn't come above this high. We came up, and it's starting to, kind of recede a little bit. But I believe that the top of this imbalance is going to be a significant level if it even comes back down, that far. So we're going to target this. This is going to be one of our targets for an entry, not on the dollar, but on the euro. I was going to say top of imbalance. And of course, this is, in the grand scheme of things, this is really, it's been consolidating, but we've been holding this level for some time. And it looks like we are coming for these highs, or this high here. And I'm going to mark this level here, because we could be possibly starting a reversal, right, from the higher time frame. All right, I really like the way the level's been holding here, and I like where price is right now, how it's formed, the low, higher low, right, high, higher high, higher lows, and now we're starting to rev up to take out this liquidity for the people who sold from this point back in March, right, at the end of March. It's a lot of people who sold from here. And so it looks like we're coming back for the liquidity. Now, when is it going to do that? We don't know for sure. But this is what I have for the dollar. I'm looking in between this high or this low and this high. All right, this is what I'm working in between right now as far as entries. Now, I don't even know if price is going to come back and retrace. I would like to see it retrace and take out this low. If we come take out this low and, head back toward the top of this imbalance, I would be even more confident that it's going to like continue up. At the rate it's going now, we could be coming to take this high out to go lower. But if we work our way back up here, which on euro would be getting closer to a low, I would take a sell on euro. I would sell and sell beyond the low if it continues up, because this took off with a lot of momentum. And as you'll see when we get to the euro dropped with a lot of momentum. And so when momentum like that happens, a lot of times it doesn't even retrace to the 38%, which would be considered a shallow retracement. And if we put the fib on this right now, you'll see from the low to the high. Let me change this. You'll see from the low to the high, we didn't even come back to the 38%. Usually we like to see it come back to the 50, maybe the 618. If it comes back down into the golden pocket, if it's truly bullish, that's a great discounted price, but it also could indicate weakness. But we haven't even come back down to the 38%. So, but with the momentum, I just really, this is why I want to get in and out. If it's going to be a sell where I'm going for a low, I'm really I want to be in and out short distance, right? I'm not going for 60, 70, 100 pips. I'm probably going to be going for anywhere between 20 to 30 pips on whatever that setup is. But this is what I would like to see from the dollar. Either come down to the top of the imbalance and take off from there, or just continue on past this high. First stop would be this high here. All right, so that would be the first target. And then long term, we're looking for this high here. All right, for this imbalance to get filled. We do want to pay attention to this little candle right here. I'll mark this up. Future. And drag this across. So we have some reference. Now, with the ECB having an interest rate decision, and with rumors that they're going to increase interest rates, that's going to affect the dollar. Of course, it's going to affect EU, and that would be really negative news for the dollar. But that doesn't mean that the dollar. It doesn't mean that the dollar will immediately drop, from the news. With the type of manipulation that they do, even if it's negative news for the dollar, a lot of times you'll see the dollar go up first and then go down. So we're not really worried about the direction, or we're not worried about if it's going to be negative or positive. We're just worried about liquidity. Where's the liquidity resting? Where are the highs? Where are the lows? And that's pretty much what I'm doing right now. I'm just marking up what I believe are obvious highs that will be taken out, and that we're headed towards what they've been building everything up until this point. I feel like this is the magnet that's pulling price up. So with that being said, having our directional bias on the dollar this week, starting off bullish in the beginning of the week, let's head over to euro. I'll show you guys what I have marked up. Okay, so last week, like I said, the past couple of weeks has been consolidating, and we finally broke out. If we measure this, put the fib on it, run it from here to here, you'll see that it's retraced to about the 38%. Yesterday, the market opened, dropped a little bit, came up, came into a zone that me and my class talked about, and it's rejecting anybody that's on the call that's on the third floor. We talked about this sell zone here, so that has happened. But I believe that we're going to go to a higher sell zone. And so that means that there's opportunities possible. You know, it would be considered a counter trend trade, but there's opportunities, you know, possibly to buy tonight. I really like the way the market dropped here, took out this low, and then came up and took out this high. And we've created this shelf for this level here. And so this is what I would, you know, consider institutional movement or a buy zone, especially if we consolidate for the rest of the night and we get a drop down during the London, like a, you know, a quick sweep, and then it takes off. It's a high probability chance that that's going to buy beyond this high here. So for anybody that, you know, wants to look for a setup and is okay with counter trend trading, this is what I see for euro. I see this consolidating, but this is what I would like to see drop down to this level. Now you could take a chance and buy from here if you want to take that chance, but for confirmation, I would like to see it come back up. Right. So if we do drop below these lows, I would like to see it come back above these highs, and then that's when I would start targeting this high here as far as an entry for a counter trend trade, right, for a buy. Now, if that does happen, whether it, you know, drops down first or it just continues up, my sell zone and what I'm waiting on, remember in my notes, I said, just wait for it. I'm waiting for a weekly low here, and I'll show you that. Let's head out to the weekly now so you can see why I have this marked up. All right, so each one of these candles represents a week. And as you can see right here where I have this weekly low, right there, I believe that's going to be a sensitive level. All right, and so I'm targeting that weekly low for a sell. And then as far as the sell zone that you guys see, that's just the it's around, like, I want to say it's like the 618. Let's put the fib back on that. I pretty much just targeted you know, the 618, and I measured the full move here. And so that's pretty much the 50% 618 of the fib. And so that would be my second sell zone. So first sell zone is the weekly low that I pointed out, which is pretty much the bottom of the consolidation that happened for the past couple of weeks. And then the second sell zone would be this zone here, which is about 50% to 618 of the fib. And it's also imbalance, some imbalance that needs to be filled here. Now I would not be surprised with these double tops, especially with interest rates releasing this week, if they came back above these highs. If they came back above these highs and swept them and then continued down. Now, where I would start to change my directional bias and start to reconsider the direction of the market is if we break back above this high, which I have a line set here. And so if price crosses back above this line, holds, now we have to reconsider, you know, the direction that the market is headed. So that's what I got. I just got to be realistic. It is a possibility that they could come back above these highs, which in that case, if I sold here and I set my stop loss, you know, above the high, I would be stopped out. But it's a chance that I'm willing to take, because even if I'm stopped out, if I see it reverse, that's just confirmation for a sweep, and I would just get in for the sell again and, you know, attempt to get it back. Now, again, remember I said on the dollar that it may not come back up here like this. It may be selling off from this point. And so with that, if EU drops and it goes beyond this zone that I got marked up for a buy, and price starts hanging out down here, right, and this is happening during the New York session, I'll be looking to sell beyond this low. I'll be looking for a break, and I will actually just sell that, right? Even without the pullback. If price comes back down here and it starts hanging out, I'll be looking to sell that break. And like I said, I'm trying to get in and out. So I would probably go for 20 to 30 pips. But long term, where I see it going is where I have this eye at, which we have some equal lows down here back from March 2026. So this is the next target. If price breaks below this low here, I'm going to be targeting these levels here, which is around 1.14390. All right, and that's it. That is the play for Euro. Sell the break here below this low. Or we wait for the retracement back up to the weekly low or the second sell zone. And then for anybody who wants to counter trend trade, during the London session, look for that poke below the current range that's being formed right now. And like I said, you can chance it and take it as soon as it comes down there, or you can wait for confirmation, wait for it to reject, come back above the highs, and then start looking for your buys above this high here. Am I good on the analysis? I know I moved the charts. I'm trying to break the habit of moving the charts around a lot and moving too fast. Did everybody catch everything with the analysis? Before I move on, I just want to make sure there's nothing that you guys missed, that you don't have any questions that are going unanswered. So before we move on, if you want to drop in the comments any questions that you have, or anything that you may have missed during this analysis, if I was moving too fast, go ahead and drop it in the comments. And I'll give you guys a couple seconds to do that while I get ready to pull up these charts. Let's see, next we'll look at. All right, cool. It looks like we are good to move on. Let's check Euro GBP too, just to see what the strength or the weakness is of the Euro. All right, hold on, steady, consolidating. It's on the lower end though, as far as the Euro versus the pound. It is within consolidation, but it's on the lower end of that consolidation, really hanging out. We had a strong sweep here, and now price is kind of hanging out, you know, down at the bottom of this consolidation, and we left some equal lows behind. All right, so that's you know, just a little more confirmation, and makes me feel a little better about taking a sell on Euro in the direction that it's going. All right, so let's check our wild cards. Let's see if we got anything going on with the Australian dollar. This price is currently selling from the mitigation zone. We dropped out of a consolidation zone here, retested the mitigation zone a few times and fell. The Aussie has some, let me see something real quick. I believe they have, yeah, in 3 minutes. I'm interested to see what's about to happen with the Australian dollar, because in 3 minutes, a red folder news release is about to happen. So, but let's go ahead and analyze this and see what's going on before that happens. See a lot of imbalance here that still needs to be filled. It looks like it wants to go. It's kind of forming like a head and shoulders type deal. And then let me see how to market and gap. So price is right there where a market open gap happened. Like the price closed here, dropped all the way down here, and then filled. And now we're right back in that area around the time that the red folder news is, red folder news is about to release. It's a lot of momentum though. I would like to see the Australian dollar. I see it selling off a little more. I see it filling some of this imbalance and created even here. All right, so we have a head and shoulders forming. We got the left shoulder, and then this would be the head starting to form. But within the head, you have the left shoulder, the head, and then the right shoulder. Guys, see that? And then we got the neckline right here. So we could be looking at, this could be a setup as far as just the head and shoulders setup on the Australian dollar, selling from the neckline. This would be, this would be the neckline. And selling down to this line here. I'm going down, get more detail. So low, high, higher low, higher high. Came back down. Created some equal lows here. All right, and it looks like it's about to head for these highs because of this swing low that just happened here. So let's see, has that news released yet? All right, there it is. Let's see what happens. So for the Australian dollar, the trade setup is a head and shoulders pattern, neckline. Neckline here, left shoulder here, head, right shoulder, neckline. Looking for Australian dollar to retrace back into this area. So what I'll do is I'll set an alarm. So I might want to catch that on my funded account. Awesome up. Message. Possible sale opportunity. Approaching. Neckline. All right, so I got my alarm set there. If price does come close to this area, I'll take a chance on the sell there. See if I was to sell from right here. Stop loss above the high, 40 pips stop loss. So I will have to do 40 or better to make it a 1-to-1. So selling it back down here would be a 1-to-1. But if we go for at least a low, we got a 1-to-2 here with 80 pips. And then if we go for the home run, we're talking about around 140 pips. All right, so zoom out. And I'll download that image and drop it in the chat. All right, next wild card. Which y'all want me to go over next? We got UJ, UChef, GBPJPY. Then for the economic indicators, we got SP 500, US 30, got gold, silver. Yeah, I know some of y'all like cryptocurrency. We got XRP, which is on sale right now, in my opinion. So is Bitcoin, but XRP, that's what I like. XRP. It dropped down to about $1.03, and then popped back up to $1.15. Is there anything in particular that y'all want me to go over before I continue on? US 30. All right, I got you, John. All right, now I remember when we were talking about this last week, and I was saying that it's overbought, but it could continue up. I see it came close to the levels we had set, creating all-time highs. I mean, US 30 is just ridiculous, man. Fundamentally, it makes no sense. Fundamentally. But I see bullishness. I gotta be bullish on it. You know, looking at the technicals, it's bullish. We've consolidated here a little bit. I see it came up, went down, went up, went down, and now we kind of like hanging out at the bottom here. But I would not be surprised with the way prices be, like the way it's starting to shape up here. Because it consolidated, we created this low here. All right, and this is on the daily. So we created this low here, and now this candle is kind of forming, and this is a strong rejection candle. We got a full body close here, and then we got a wick, a strong wick close and a low close. And so now I'm looking at these lows here. I'm looking below these lows. Right, and if I'm looking at that, then I'm looking at, let's delete this previous buy zone or sell zone. Let's just slide this over. All right, so I'm looking at a buy zone here, below these lows, right here where, all right, follow the footprints. We had our last move down. From the last move down, Price came up and broke structure, broke the last high, broke the last all-time. This is an all-time high here. This is the candle that pushed down and pushed the price up above the last all-time high. And now it looks like price is starting to come back down here. Now, I'm not saying it's going to come by and, you know, continue up, but I do believe, strongly believe, is going to be some type of reaction from this area. So let's drop down to some lower time frames and see some more details. All right, let's fine tune this. All right, now we got more of a honed in target. All right, we got some lows here. We got a low here. And the way this is shaping up, I see this selling off. So again, with the counter trend trading, if you counter trend trade, I see potential sales, especially at the right time. Depending on where price is during the New York Open, I will have to come look at it. I'm close to the New York Open, but I'm banking on sales tomorrow morning. I'm banking on, shorts tomorrow. Oh yeah, that's it. That's it. Head and shoulders pattern. Head, and count this as the shoulder. Neckline. Yeah, if price starts to push down here during the London, during the New York, I would be looking for it to push down even further into this buy zone. So that's what I got for US 30. And then last buy zone or second buy zone right here below this low, because they like to take out lows before they continue in the intended direction. So first buy zone is around 50,000, 50,060. I'm gonna call it 50,050, and then second buy zone is around 49,630. That's what I see. It's 30 BTC. Okay. All right, so yeah, let's check out Bitcoin. All right, so we're gonna leave this all right, I'll drop this one in the chat as well, John. Yeah, let's head over to BTC. See what we have marked up for. See how the chart did. All right, had a sell zone. Talked about this the last time that we went over Bitcoin, and that I've seen it selling off more, and that this was the sell zone. It didn't quite come up to the sell zone, but the idea is still there. So came up, sold off. We've kind of broken below the low, but let's see what's going on. What's below? All right, here we go. Here we go with the 80% sell-off. Yeah, man, Bitcoin can't come this low. Bitcoin can't come this low and not take out this low right here. Bitcoin can't come this low and not take out this low right here. So we talking about possible 45,000. Look at that. Look at the momentum. that run up, look at the momentum. I mean, you could look at structure and see we creating lower highs and lower lows. And so next stop, right? We called this, which is why I have the line here, 45,000. We were within the zone, consolidated a little bit, broke out of the consolidation, came back, broke down below the consolidation, and now we have a low here. And so I'm gonna put an I here as the target. But yeah, so I remember this is the first target, 45,000, and then the second target would be 30,000 right here. And that's cut and dry with Bitcoin. It's selling off right now. It's on sale, but I would wait. I would like to see it come to 45,000, and in between 45 and 30,000, I believe that's a super big discount. I mean, you're talking about, look at this, man. I mean, look at the cycles. First cycle, where everybody thought Bitcoin died. Second cycle, where everybody thought Bitcoin died. Third cycle, I think people are starting to catch on, but it's going to be a lot of people that think Bitcoin is dying. And so, I mean, there it is. We're in the third cycle right now. Really like the fourth cycle because there was some cycles back here. They so small though. But yeah, I would like to see Bitcoin come down to 45 to 30,000 as a discount. And I'll drop this in the chats too weekly. I think y'all know I don't really have to put any text here. Anybody who's looking at it, y'all be able to reference the call. But these are the two levels that I see it coming down to, and this is where we coming from. Right. And we'll go over silver. One last pair. Yeah, another one that doesn't really fundamentally make sense to me, but silver looks to be selling off. Just looking at higher time frame structure. And then price is really just kind of like hanging here. Last move. All right, so I would like to see it retrace back up to the sell zone or 50% of the total imbalance, which would be around here. I'm pretty sure I'll see more detail once I drop down to the lower time frames, but just looking at it from the daily, this is a daily sell zone. And as always, we just targeting lows. All right, so the next low that I see is right here. So I'll put a line here. And let's drop down to the lower time frames. Looks like we're trying to turn around. We sold off real strong rejection. Starting a little small reversal here. Any buying, I would consider counter trend trading at this point. We got imbalance here that I believe is going to be filled. So we got an intermediate high. We got a low. We got some lows. And then we got a lower low that took out that low that came back above the highs. That's like a classic move too. Just in case you haven't caught on, I really like to see lows get taken out by lower lows, and right after that move, you got lows, a lower low, and right after that lower low, price shoots up and comes above the highs. And to me, that indicates that's a strong indication of whether it's a long-term reversal or a short-term reversal. I like to see lows and highs get taken out, and then a strong move in the opposite direction. You got the highs here, had a low, lower low, boom, cleared the highs. All right, let's drop down and see more detail. Yeah, got an intermediate high here, intermediate high, lows get taken out, liquidity taken, and then boom, price shoots up. And now we starting to flag down. All right, that's a bullish, this looks like a bullish flag. And I'll just mark it up. Classic bullish flag pattern with beautiful imbalance that needs to be filled in. Yeah. Yep. And I'm gonna stop it right here. I'm gonna say that this is the imbalance that needs to be filled in. I wouldn't be surprised if they came back and filled this in, came back up into the daily sell zone that I marked up. Remember, this is the daily sell zone. But I would like to see it come right here because of this low right here. It's what you call a fair value gap or a gap wick. Okay, so this is what I have for silver. We got somewhat of a temporary reversal happening. Lows here that got taken out. Price rebounded, and now we're starting to create a bullish flag. These are the highs I believe they're coming for. Here's the imbalance, and I think this will be a sensitive area to catch a nice reaction from for a sell. If not a complete sell-off, at least a reaction. And then I would bank on a complete sell-off from around the daily zone if it reaches back up in there. So I'll also drop this in the chat. Let's go ahead and clean this up. Here and then. Okay. All right, y'all. So that wraps it up for tonight's call. It's 9:51. That is it. I will drop all of those charts inside of I'll drop all of those charts inside the chat. Sorry, man, I'm sleepy. But yeah, it's good to be back. I'm glad to see everybody on the call. Appreciate y'all being here. It's always good, just interacting with y'all, talking to y'all, and seeing you guys. I will see y'all in the chats, on the charts. Remember, becoming a master trader isn't about mastering the markets as much as it is about mastering yourself, and discipline before profits, faith over everything, all day. All right, love y'all. I will see y'all later. Get some rest, and y'all willing, I'll see y'all again next week for SnipeAthon update number 18. Peace.